Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I'm reviewing the LG Gram 2022. Currently I'm recovering from a cough, so I may sound a bit different in different parts of this video because certain parts of the video were recorded before I had the cough. So, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by LG Singapore. However, all the opinions in this video are mine. I'm just going to present to you my findings and you can decide whether or not this is worth the money. Second disclaimer, I reviewed last year's model as well and I liked it so much I purchased one for myself. It's also the LG Gram 16. This video is going to be quite long because in addition to talking about the hardware, I will also talk about the software LG has included because some of those software are actually quite useful. So if you want to save time, you can use the timestamps provided to jump to different sections of this video or check out the text review that I have already written on my blog. The link is in the video description below. And listed on the site now are the specifications for this review unit that I have. The specs for this review unit are different from the retail units sold here in Singapore because in Singapore, LG is not selling the laptops with the ones that have discrete graphics card, but this one has a discrete graphics card and they have installed a second NVMe SSD in this, and the battery capacity for this is 90 watt-hour instead of the 80 watt-hour for the laptops without the discrete graphics card. These are the official retail prices for the LG Gram models here in Singapore. LG Gram 15 is not available for sale. By the way, LG Gram 15 is a touchscreen laptop with a display that has 16:9 aspect ratio and the resolution is just Full HD 1920 by 1080p. LG Gram 14 has a resolution of 1920 by 1200 and LG Gram 16 and 17, they both have 2560 by 1600 resolution. There are also the LG Gram 14 2-in-1 and LG Gram 16 2-in-1 which may be coming later to Singapore. My review will be from the perspective of a visual content creator, and let me give you the bottom line up front. The LG Gram is a beautiful portable laptop with decent performance given the specifications. The main selling point here really is the weight. It's really lightweight. For this 16-inch laptop, it's just 1.199 kg, slightly less than 1.2 kg, so it's very portable for a laptop with such a huge display. And this year, the display quality has improved in my opinion because they are now using a matte textured display which handles reflections so much better unless there are direct reflections on the display. But otherwise, it looks great. There are people who prefer glossy displays because the colors can look more vibrant and the contrast can look better. Personally for me, I prioritize having no reflections, and last year's model was really quite reflective. Also because there is no anti-reflective coating applied on the screen. This 16-inch model has a resolution of 2560 by 1600, so the aspect ratio is 16:10, which is good for productivity, and the pixel density is 188 ppi, so all the visuals, they look really sharp. Color support is really good. I measured color support for 100% sRGB and P3. This laptop has no problem handling graphic design work such as print design and web design and photo editing. However, there are some issues when it comes to editing videos. With DaVinci Resolve 17, there are even issues with playing 1080p videos, which is what I'm doing right now. So here you can see drop frames and the video jitters very noticeably. Adobe Premiere Pro, on the other hand, has no problems editing 1080p and 4K videos, so the playback is quite smooth. If you are using DaVinci Resolve 17, you can edit 1080p videos, but you will have to use proxies and you will have to spend the time to generate the proxies. This review unit with the discrete graphics card can be used for some light gaming. However, if you are really into gaming, for the same amount of money, you can probably find a laptop with better gaming specifications and with better cooling. Downsides: this is a very flexible laptop. You can see just how flexible the display is. So if you're someone who associates quality with solid build quality, you are going to feel a huge disconnect with the build quality of this laptop. There is also flex with the top case of the keyboard, but not when you are typing. And when you hold a laptop like this, there is some flex here as well, but it's not that obvious. LG has used aircraft-grade magnesium alloy for the material, and they have managed to make this metal look and feel like plastic. The upside is it's very lightweight, the downside is it looks and feels like plastic, and whatever that means to you. I personally don't have any issues with the build quality. By the way, if you know of any 16-inch laptops that are 1.2 to 1.3 kg in weight and has solid build quality, share with me and others in the comment section below. These are the items included in the box: the laptop, a silicone keyboard cover, a 65-watt USB-C charger. The idea of having a silicone keyboard cover is nice. However, when the keyboard cover sticks to the keys, there is this sticky look which doesn't look nice. I feel like if you want to have a silicone keyboard cover, it might be good to have some design over it, because this can make your keyboard and your laptop look really stylish. These two are for another laptop that I have. This charger takes around 3 hours to charge the laptop to 100%, 2 hours to 80%. And since the laptop supports USB-C charging, you can also use your own gallium nitride chargers. Battery life is pretty good, relatively speaking, compared to other Windows laptops. So I was able to get around 9 hours of battery life with above average brightness. But bear in mind that this review unit comes with the 90-watt battery capacity and not the 80-watt battery capacity. According to the stats here, based on the last few days of usage, the battery discharges by 12% per hour and charges by 33% per hour. Let's look at the design of this laptop. This is a good looking laptop, available in 3 colors: white, charcoal gray, and black. This laptop is very portable, and this design is quite compact. For this 16-inch laptop, the thickest part is 16.8 millimeter, and it's very lightweight for a laptop this size. On the top, there is the shiny Gram logo, and this material is aircraft-grade magnesium alloy. It has a nice matte textured surface to it. Do note that the surface can be scratched quite easily, so be careful. On the back, tiny holes for air intake. Audio quality from the downward facing speakers is alright. It's loud and clear, but not as clear compared to front facing speakers, so there is a limitation to how good downward facing speakers can be. There are 2 rubber feet which can compress when you press on them, and here there is this very long rubber feet. I did not open the back, so I cannot show you what's inside, but based on photos I have seen, there is one empty NVMe SSD slot, so if you want to, you can add another NVMe SSD. The RAM is sorted, it's not user upgradable. The ports on the left are full-size HDMI version 2. These two are Thunderbolt 4, USB Type-C, that's the charging light indicator, a 3.5mm audio jack. On the right side, there is a micro SD card reader, which I'm not sure if it's more useful than a full-size SD card reader. These two are USB 3.2 Type-A ports. The selection of ports on this laptop is good, but if this is a full-size SD card reader, it would be fantastic. This angled design at the bottom makes it very easy for you to lift the laptop up. There is a little indent here for you to lift the display up. Windows Hello Face Unlock works quite effectively and is fast enough. However, fingerprint sensor is still faster. So this is a very beautiful display. It's big, it's 16 inches, the resolution is 2560 by 1600, the pixel density is 188 ppi. It's not as sharp as 4K, sure, but pixelation is not noticeable from 1 arm's length away. The combination of the resolution, the aspect ratio, the size, and the color support makes this display really satisfying to work with when it comes to creating visual content, when it comes to using graphic design apps, editing photos and videos. I've already color calibrated this display and I measured color support for 100% sRGB and P3, 89% Adobe RGB, 87% NTSC. So this display's color accuracy is really good and is definitely good enough for professional visual content creation. The LCD panel is IPS and viewing angles are pretty good with minimal color shift when viewed from different angles, even at this angle. And this is quite important because with a laptop display you will want to use your display at whatever angle you like, and you can expect consistent color performance at any angle. The one huge improvement with the 2022 model is this year they are using a matte textured display instead of the glossy reflective one. With the glossy display from last year's model, you can see your reflections on the display all the time regardless of the brightness. And that's the main thing I don't like about last year's model, the glossy reflective display. So this year with the matte textured display, this to me is a huge upgrade. And wow, this display can go real low. And this display is very bright. The advertised brightness is 350 nits. I measured 296 nits. This display is definitely bright enough for use in a bright room environment. I prefer the 16-inch over the 17-inch model because this is 150 grams lighter and the display is still big. The 15-inch model is definitely a no for me because the display is glossy, the aspect ratio is 16:9 and the resolution is just 1080p. The 14-inch is actually not too bad. The aspect ratio is 16:10, but the resolution is just 1920x1200. The other difference between the 16 and 17-inch model is the number pad. So this 16-inch model has a number pad with only 3 columns and the layout for the keys is different compared to a 4-column number pad that you can find on the 17-inch model. This 3-column number pad will take some time to get used to because the button layouts are quite different. The minus and plus buttons are up here instead of the side. The number lock is on the right side instead of the left. The 0 and enter button are single width buttons instead of double width. This is a nice keyboard with a number pad, but the number pad is squashed because there is a lack of space. The keys are backlit, they have good travel and feedback. So my overall typing experience is very positive. One thing I didn't realize until someone told me recently is this. The keys actually go below the top case, so depending on how you type, you may feel the edge here. The touchpad is big and it works well. The clicking feedback is firm and satisfying. The improvement this year is they moved the touchpad 1 centimeter to the left, so the left edge aligns to the space bar's left edge, and this is just a better layout. Last year's touchpad was in the middle and the spacebar is on the left side, so that's weird. These are the function key shortcuts. If you do not use them, unfortunately you won't be able to remap them, and there are a few that I don't use. On the right side here is the power button. There is no longer the fingerprint scanner. This is the quality of the webcam. The resolution is 1080p. The sharpness is good, but the overall image quality is quite grainy. And there is this limitation with the dynamic range, so you can see the highlight on my forehead, it's blown out. And sometimes there are issues with auto exposure. I can't seem to lock the exposure, at least with the default camera app provided by Windows. Let's look at LG Smart Assistant software. So this software will allow you to control certain settings of the LG gram, and there is a shortcut button on the keyboard for this software. So these are the different modes you can use. I'm using custom settings, and here you can choose to turn on or off the webcam, microphone, the touchpad, control the fan speed, This instant rebooting feature is very useful. This will prevent your computer from shutting down after it goes to sleep for a long period of time. And when you open your LCD lid, this would boot up really quickly. So I always have this turned on. Here you can control the keyboard lighting and whether or not the keyboard will go to sleep after some time. For power setting, you can choose to extend the battery lifespan by lowering the charging level to 80%. So I will have this turned on with my own LG gram, but here I'm testing the battery capacity, so I have left this off. This is actually quite useful for extending the lifespan of your battery. And here with USB-C offline charging, this means you can still charge your phone or tablet using a laptop even when the laptop is powered off. And display settings, I'm going to leave this as default. And AI, noise cancelling, I must say that I did not test this, so I can't tell you how good this is. I almost missed out this feature called Set Custom Hotkeys, which is under keyboard settings, and this feature is very useful because this allows you to use keyboard shortcuts to launch certain apps. The keyboard shortcuts you can use are function button together with a number key, and I have already assigned some apps that I can launch with those keyboard shortcuts. The ability to launch apps with keyboard shortcuts is very useful for me. The downside here is you can only assign up to 5 apps because you are limited to just 5 keyboard shortcuts. Another downside is if you use the keyboard shortcut a second time, it doesn't go to the app that is already open. It would open a second instance of the app. The next software I want to talk about is LG Glance, which is a software that can detect the presence of people in front of the laptop using the webcam. And this software can call up certain features depending on who's in front of the laptop, and it works quite well. This software can work with extended displays as well. So this is the LG Gram Plus View external display, which was released together with the LG Gram 2022. You can also use this software with other brands of monitors or portable displays. I've already reviewed this in a separate video. Do check out that review because this is a very good external display with the same specifications as the display on the LG Gram 2022. The LG Glance software is currently only available on the LG Gram 2022, and this software provides a mix of privacy and productivity features. And when this software is in action, you will see the camera light here turn on. If you don't want to use LG Glance, you don't have to. If you want to use LG Glance, you can have it launch at startup. So when the color is green, it means the camera can see you. If I cover the camera, it turns red and it will call up certain functions. So now I have presence detection turned on. You can choose the actions that can happen when the laptop detects that you are not around. So in this case, I have set the laptop to lock the screen when I'm not around. You can have it dim the screen or turn on the screensaver. And snap window is another feature which is quite useful. Snap display will allow you to move one window to the other display just by looking at the other display. So all I have to do is to click and hold on the title bar here and look at the other display and look back. So it's quite effective. You can do that for the cursor as well. So for example, now I have the cursor here, right up there. If I move the cursor down here and I look here, the cursor is still here at the top corner. And if I look back here, it's going to be here because it remembers where the cursor is. And this is quite convenient because if you are typing some text here, you're writing the text here and you want to copy a text phrase here, when you look back at your display, the cursor will be here so you can enter and copy your text. So that is actually very convenient. Of course, if you know your Windows shortcuts, you can also move the windows from left to right to either display using the shortcut Win key and the arrow keys. The downside to snap window is if the window is maximized like this, you cannot click on the title bar and move the window. For some reason, it doesn't work. And also when the settings, the Windows settings dialog box is open, you also can't move windows around just by looking at the display. Smart Pointer is the feature where you can move the cursor from either display, and Smart Display allows you to blur the display. With Smart Display, when you are looking at this display, the other display is blur, and when you look at this display now, this display will be blur, and again this also works quite effectively. Privacy Guard works together with Privacy Alert. Privacy Guard also allows you to blur the display. When you have Privacy Alert turned on, when someone else looks at your display, an icon will appear on the display. So I'm showing the camera this imposter's photo, and it will show the icon here on the left side because the imposter is on the left, and when I have the imposter on the right side, the icon will appear on the right side. And in this case, both displays are blurred because I have Privacy Guard turned on. If I turn off Privacy Guard and have Privacy Alert turned on, the icon will appear, but the screens will still remain unblurred. These privacy features work very effectively, which means if you have people looking at your screen, if you have family members or colleagues walking past your display, things like this can happen very often. The screen can become blur and blur, blur and blur, so that can be quite distracting. So unless you are working with a very sensitive document, you may just want to leave these settings turned off. Smart Player will pause the media you are playing when your presence is not detected. This will apply to YouTube videos as well. Digital Wellness will send you some alerts after a period of time to ask you to rest your eyes and to stretch yourself. And there are some video conferencing features as well, which I did not test. LG Smart Assistant was also available with 2021's model. However, this year they updated it with more features, and I find the feature where you can set keyboard shortcuts to launch apps to be very useful. As for LG Glance, this software is going to be more useful for people who work with sensitive documents. And we have a security warning. Your McAfee virus protection will expire soon. I shall accept the risk. So there are some bloatware. These 8 are the bloatware included, and of course McAfee antivirus that you saw earlier. Anyway, you can just right click and uninstall them very easily. Let's talk about performance. This laptop is equipped with the 12th Gen Intel Core i7 1260p processor, which is a 12-core processor that includes 4 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores, and there is 16 gigs of RAM on board, and the NVMe SSD is really fast. I measured read speeds up to 6,000 megabytes per second and write speeds 4,000 megabytes per second. Overall responsiveness is very good. This laptop feels very snappy, very responsive. The laptop is quick to start and restart. Loading apps is fast. Internet download speed is fast thanks to Wi-Fi 6. Multitasking works great, but not everything is fast. Let's take a look at Photoshop. So this is a 900 megabyte file. Let's go into liquify mode. It takes some time to go into the liquify mode. It takes time to load. Okay, so once it's loaded, let's zoom in all the way and use a brush to liquify this. The liquify effect is instantaneous. So while Photoshop is doing the liquefying work, the fan started to rev up, and I've just closed the liquify dialog box, and it's going to take some time before the fans will rev down. Let's take a look at photo editing. Generally speaking, I don't really have any issues with graphic design work with Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Designer. When it comes to editing photos, the import process is very quick. with the Thunderbolt 4 ports. However, when it comes to generating thumbnails, thumbnails that you see here, it took much longer than I expected. But once the thumbnails are generated, you can edit the photos very easily. The edits will be instantaneous. This laptop is not ideal for editing videos, and the video editing apps you use can affect performance significantly. For example, when I play back 1080p 25 frames per second videos with DaVinci Resolve, there were drop frames and the video playback was sluggish, so DaVinci Resolve cannot even work with 1080p videos on this laptop. Performance with Adobe Premiere Pro is better. This is 4K video, 25 frames per second, and the playback is actually quite smooth. There is the occasional drop frame, but this can still be used for editing. By the way, when you hear the fans rev up, that's when you will start to see a lot of drop frames. And sometimes when you launch Premiere Pro, the fans will just rev up, even though the CPU utilization is under 20%. This is DaVinci Resolve. This is just me moving the laptop from left to right. And now it's alright. Now the playback is smooth, but occasionally there will be some drop frames for reasons unknown to me. If you really want to work with DaVinci Resolve, you have to generate proxies. You have to spend the time to generate proxies, and this app is not able to handle 4K, even with proxies. Let's talk about gaming. So this laptop is equipped with the NVIDIA GeForce MX 570, and this is not the discrete graphics card LG said would be included. They actually advertised their NVIDIA RTX 2050. This graphics card is good for some light gaming. This game is Hades and I'm running it at 1080p resolution. I'm able to get 60 frames per second. If you get the model without the discrete graphics card, that means the model with the Intel Iris Xe, the gaming performance may not be as good. So that's just something to take note of. Anyway, LG Grams are not gaming laptops. This is Red Dead Redemption 2. Resolution is 1280 by 800, and I was able to get 24 frames per second. It actually started out at 40 frames per second, but after 1 or 2 minutes it dropped to 24 frames per second. So gaming with AAA titles is not ideal on the LG Gram. And this is how the fan sounds when spinning at full speed. To conclude, as a visual content creator, this is a laptop I can recommend for graphic design, digital art and photo editing. If you want to edit videos with this, it's going to struggle with DaVinci Resolve. If you use Adobe Premiere Pro, it works better. However, if video editing is your main source of work, this is not a laptop I would recommend. And if you want to do some gaming, this is probably not the laptop I would recommend as well, because for the same amount of money, you can probably get a more powerful laptop with better cooling system. The main selling point of the LG Gram is very obviously the weight. It's very lightweight, which makes it very portable. And it has a good selection of ports. Every laptop design is a compromise, and the material LG has used for the LG Gram is very lightweight, but it flexes, and here you can see it wobbles as well, but it's not going to wobble while you're typing. If you're someone who associates something being solid, rigid, and heavy with build quality, then you're going to feel a disconnect with the LG Gram because it's neither heavy nor rigid. I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to say about the LG Gram 2022. If you guys have any questions regarding this laptop, let me know in the comment section below. If you happen to be watching this video in Singapore and you have the intention to buy this, you can get some pre-order goodies if you make your purchase before the 31st of July 2022. And if you are watching this review from overseas, you can check out more reviews on Amazon. I have links for you in the video description below as well. Thanks for watching. I hope this review is useful. See you guys in the next video.
See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.